Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today I on FB Live again. I'm not actually feeling very well, so it will be quick and short because I actually have migraine. Okay. Today I will be sharing about what is PhD because I have received a few questions that related to data analysis and how to write data analysis and how to write discussion, finding and discussion. So in order to answer that, I would like to share about what is PhD and what is thesis, PhD thesis. Okay. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I don't know whether you are here. If not, you can look at the recorded version of the FB Live. So what is actually PhD? You need to understand why we do PhD is because we identify a gap, which is a critical problem that need to be solved by you as a researcher, and that is why you do PhD. So it is very vital that you find a particular problem that really significant, that really crucial, that is really problematic to be researched. Okay, so why we do research is because we want to solve a particular problem, a specific problem that are very critical to be addressed in order for you to solve that problem. So that is why you do research. That is why anybody do research. Hello Harmit Buller, where are you from? Are you Malaysian or are you international student study at Malaysia? Nice having you here. Okay, so because we do research is because we want to solve a problem. Therefore, it is very important that in order to solve that problem, you are actually taking all evidence from the literature and you collect the data from the field. Okay, so it could be secondary or primary data for your main data collection. So the data collection and the data analysis is actually you showing the process of how you try to solve that problem. By having this process, finally you come into conclusion that you can conclude the final result as your finding. So that is the solution to your problem. So the solution need to be shown with some process, structured and systematic, and that was either is systematic or scientific according to your approach, either quantitative, scientific or qualitative. Okay, so problem, solution, from the problem to find a solution. In the middle you have this process. So this process must be very clear and very structured or systematic. Okay, or if in layman we call it like SOP, standard operation procedures. Okay, so problem, the process, and the solution. Okay, therefore when you write your, usually we should have like these two chapters of it can be divided. Analysis, usually we have, okay, first chapter we do have introduction, literature review, research methodology, analysis and result, discussion and finding, conclusion and recommendation. That is basic. Okay, so it can be changing or added from that. Okay, before I discuss about two related chapter that two chapters that related directly into presenting your solution, which is chapter analysis and also finding and discussion. So sometimes there are school of thought that combine these two chapters. Some school of thought, they separated this chapter into two. Okay, so like I said, okay, but in general, PhD is the work, your original work, to display your knowledge in broad perspective and also in the very specific focus, narrowed down to show you are very expert on that particular knowledge. So display knowledge on that particular field, okay, which you need to display critical judgment on the literature review, on the theory that you use in the study of, in the context of your study. And the key is to represent a contribution to knowledge, okay, contribution knowledge. So like I said, solution is actually your contribution to knowledge. So you must remember, it is very crucial that you put your finding in a very clear way, structured, clear in through the explanation and through the what we call, you map again to the literature if you have new finding that not covered by early literature that you have done. But that is of course if you do more on the qualitative data, because qualitative data is like usually theory build, we are building an idea. Is if we compare with quantitative, you are actually testing the theory. Okay, so Salam Ezni Hari. Okay, I want to relate back to those two chapters. So remember, always remember, PhD is about finding more and more about less until one eventually knows everything about nothing. So you display your work, okay? So you do research by finding a problem, a very critical problem that is worth to be studied, and to offer a solution to that problem by showing the process. Okay, why you need to show the process transparently? Because for other people can repeat or replicate your process, therefore they will get the same result or partially the same. Okay, so all must be written and done very transparently. So it's about ethic. Okay, oh my God, I'm actually like teaching all about PhD. No, I should just focus on the issue that the sharing that I should share today. It will be about what is PhD and how actually we come into the contribution to knowledge. So problem, the process, and solution. Okay, so this solution, okay, are presented in the process, which is you do the write-up in the data analysis, in the data collection, in the data analysis part. Okay, so this is the process shown, very structured, very systematic. And the data analysis, when you have two chapters, one analysis and result, the other one finding and discussion. So in this analysis and result, usually, okay, it depends on the school of thought, but usually in this chapter you discuss the analysis and you get the result, but it shall not be discussed in details. It just raw initial result. Okay, you do analysis, you present result. It's not discussed in details. The discussion on the result, which contribute to your finding, will be discussed in the next chapter, usually under finding and discussion. Okay, what I mean by saying this is, for example, my output that I want to solve, the problem that I have identified, I want to come out with the development of business model. Okay, this is example. So I want to come out with the development of business model, maybe to solve an entrepreneurship in SMS problem, for example. Okay, so when I do analysis, I identify the factors, the success factors, or the criteria of the model from the analysis. So that's it. The analysis given result, but the model not yet developed. So the development of the model are discussed in detail and thoroughly inside finding and discussion. Do you get what I mean? So the result stay as result and not being discussed and explained how it can be applied. So the discussion and explanation and how it can be applied is discussed in the finding and discussion as your main output, as your finding, your final finding. So it should be right, the finding should be right, to be right, very thorough, very detailed in explanation, in application, how those model, how that model can be applied as your suggestion, as you suggested, or as because I try to develop as me suggested that model. So keep in mind, analysis and result should be like very raw result, very raw finding, not discuss, not come out with the model, it just analyze and get result. Okay, so in the finding and discussion, you come out with the model as your finding, because I'm giving example, developing a model as the finding, and there in the finding and discussion, you put explanation, you develop how you develop the model from the result that you have got, and how you explain how actually the model can be applied, and how it's actually in alignment with the theory that you have found earlier in your literature review chapter. Okay, so all theses are actually interrelated to each other. Okay, remember that. So it is important because through my experience, usually students forget to really show their finding, because your finding is everything. That's why you do PhD. That's why you come out with your thesis. So you must really explain your finding. So the finding is your wow factor. That is your contribution to knowledge. Okay, so don't make it very clear, make it very critical, really highlighted your finding in a way that people could accept. So because you want to present it, it kind of like presenting a case. Okay, so that is it. Okay, so make sure you put your finding as your main. That is why, that is because that is your contribution to knowledge. So make sure the findings are very clear through explanation, also through the evidence mapping from the literature review. Okay, on discussion. Okay, that's it. Why actually I come to that? Because there are some people ask me about he done Connie Lim. Okay, you done collecting data, you done analyzing, you do multiple case study, you already analyze within case, cross case. So the output from the analysis is presented as result. What you're going to do with the result, because you said you use mixed method, so you need to know. Last week I already explained, mixed method need to have some weightage. Either it is more on quantity or more on quality, because it is important to understand that weightage, because only then you know which either you are developing or testing, or you need to know that first. Okay, you need to really understand that part first. Okay, so the result from the analysis from the case study will be used for what? I don't know. Are you developing something? Are you testing something from the result, or are you generating hypothesis from the result? That thing that you should put inside your finding and discussion. Okay, not the result analysis, but part of it will be used to come out with your output your research output. Okay, so it is contribution to knowledge. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, so I hope you get something from this sharing. To discuss detail, it will take like 1 or 2 days, but it is basic of it. So it will be always the importance of PhD and thesis is to highlight your contribution. Okay, if you have passed your proposal defense, usually your problem already ground.